men across the country are waking up with the same cold shock running through their veins. Something in modern dating is deeply off, and nobody bothered to warn them. They're not angry. They're not bitter. They're just finally seeing the patterns they were told were all in their heads. The contradictions, the double standards, the expectations that only ever seem to flow one way. Men everywhere are noticing the same thing at the same time. And it's not coming from hate, it's coming from clarity. Clarity that some dynamics today aren't built on partnership, but on entitlement. Clarity that loyalty is demanded from men while women keep backup plans. Clarity that effort is required from men while accountability is optional for women. Clarity that dating has quietly shifted into a system where men are expected to give and women are encouraged to take. And the most painful part? For years, men swallowed their doubts because speaking up meant being labeled the villain. But now the mask is slipping. Now the stories are matching. Now the evidence is everywhere. This video breaks down the truth men are finally recognizing. Why so many feel used, unheard, and replaceable, and why this awakening is about to change everything. Stay with me. By the end, you'll understand exactly why men are choosing clarity over chaos. After that moment of clarity hits, men start noticing something they used to brush off. The standards in modern dating don't just feel uneven, they feel engineered to be impossible. It's the quiet realization that some women demand qualities they've never required of themselves. They want a man who earns 6 figures, while they've never held a stable job. They want a man who is loyal while they entertain options on the side. They expect emotional maturity while throwing tantrums. The second reality pushes back. And the most jarring part? They present these demands as if they're the bare minimum. As if being a man automatically means performing at perfection level, just to qualify for basic respect. Men used to laugh this off, thinking it was just a meme or a joke online. But now they're seeing it up close, in real profiles, real conversations, real relationships. A woman who offers chaos insists she deserves stability. A woman who hasn't stepped into a gym in a decade insists she deserves a man with a model's physique. A woman drowning in her own problems insists her partner should have none. It's a level of hypocrisy so loud that men can't unhear it once they notice it. And what makes it sting isn't the standards themselves, it's the entitlement behind them. It's the belief that she deserves everything while offering nothing equivalent in return. It's the assumption that men must earn love, while women must only exist to receive it. Modern dating has turned into a negotiation where men show their value and women list their demands, and somehow the imbalance is supposed to make sense. This is the moment men start connecting the dots. They realize the expectations placed on them aren't rooted in partnership, but in extraction. They realize they're being measured by checklists, not character. They realize they're entering relationships already positioned as the one who needs to prove themselves. And once that truth settles in, it becomes impossible to ignore, because it explains why so many good men feel drained, dismissed, and undervalued. This is where the awakening truly begins. As men start recognizing the imbalance in expectations, another pattern hits even harder. The way some women flip the script when their own actions cross the line. It's almost predictable now. She cheats, she lies, she creates chaos, and somehow she still ends up playing the victim. The moment she's held accountable, the tears appear, the narrative shifts, and suddenly he's the one who should have tried harder, should have fought for us, or made her feel lonely. It's a performance polished by repetition, and men are realizing just how rehearsed it is. What shocks them most is not the behavior itself, but how quickly the internet rewards it. A woman uploads a shaky TikTok video, mascara streaked, sobbing about losing a man she betrayed, and the comments flood in with unconditional support. She cheated with multiple men, yet the crowd applauds her bravery for speaking her truth. She broke the relationship, but strangers online insist she deserved better. It's validation on demand. And for some, it's fuel. This culture of public meltdowns has turned attention into currency. Accountability doesn't matter when sympathy gets more views. Instead of fixing the damage they caused, some women document it, amplify it, and convert it into likes. The drama becomes the product. The breakup becomes content. The pain becomes branding. And men, watching this unfold, are stunned at how quickly personal failure is rebranded as empowerment. The moment a camera turns on, what used to be private emotional spirals are now full-scale performances designed for maximum engagement. The louder the meltdown, the larger the audience. The worse the behavior, the louder the applause if she tells the story well enough. And men are left wondering how they became props in someone else's attention economy. This is the moment men realize they're not just dealing with relationship issues. They're dealing with a culture that rewards victimhood over accountability, a culture where the truth bends to whoever cries first. And once they see it, they can't unsee it. When men start seeing how easily victimhood gets rewarded, another realization hits just as hard. In many modern relationships, emotional instability has quietly become a weapon. The pattern is almost formulaic. She feels sad, so it's his fault. She feels anxious. He isn't doing enough. She feels bored. He isn't exciting enough. Every negative emotion becomes evidence that he somehow failed, even when the real issue has nothing to do with him. It's blame shifting dressed up as vulnerability, and men are finally catching on. What makes it exhausting is how impossible it is to meet expectations that constantly move. He plans a date, and it's not thoughtful enough. He gives her space, and suddenly he's emotionally distant. He shows affection, and now he's too clingy. It doesn't matter which direction he moves. He's always one step away from being wrong. Some people aren't seeking stability. They're seeking stimulation, and chaos gives them that spark. The relationship becomes a roller coaster because calm doesn't feel like love to them. Drama does. And when accountability enters the room, the script flips fast. Fights get rewritten in real time. The story changes to paint her as the threatened one, the overwhelmed one, the misunderstood one. A meltdown she started becomes a moment where he made her feel unsafe. A financial mess she caused becomes his controlling nature. Infidelity becomes a response to emotional neglect. The truth bends to protect her self-image, and he becomes the scapegoat, holding the weight of both people's mistakes. This is where gaslighting slips in, not always loud, sometimes soft, sometimes subtle, but always disorienting. He remembers the argument one way, she retells it another. He recalls the facts, she reframes the feelings. And over time, he begins questioning his own memory, his own intentions, even his own sanity. Men aren't waking up to emotional instability itself. They're waking up to how often it's weaponized, how often it excuses destructive behavior, and how often it keeps them trapped in relationships where chaos is constant and blame always lands on their side of the table. As men begin noticing how blame is constantly redirected toward them, another uncomfortable truth surfaces. The way modern culture has started glamorizing behavior that used to be recognized for what it was. Promiscuity isn't just tolerated now, it's marketed as empowerment. Some women speak about hookup streaks like achievements, post them online as if they were milestones, and frame it all under the banner of liberation. Men aren't judging the choices themselves. They're confused by the contradiction. They're told a woman's past doesn't matter, yet they're also told they should never ask about it, never react to it, never question it, even when honesty is replaced with carefully curated fiction. That's where the real fracture begins. It's not the past that breaks trust. It's the deceit around it. Men enter relationships believing they're building something based on transparency, only to later learn the truth through a slipping comment, a careless friend, or a post dug up online. What was claimed to be a few partners turns out to be a revolving door. What was downplayed as a phase turns out to be a lifestyle. And once the truth emerges, men aren't upset because of the number. They're upset because the story was rewritten to protect her image at the cost of their trust. Meanwhile, a growing culture encourages women to treat adult content platforms like career upgrades. Some talk about joining OnlyFans the same way someone might talk about getting into grad school. No mention of consequences. No thought about long-term impact. Just a flood of encouragement telling them it's empowering, it's profitable, it's the future. And when men express hesitation or discomfort about dating someone who broadcasts intimacy for strangers, they're shamed as insecure or controlling, even though those concerns are completely valid in real relationships. Men are finally admitting what they used to fear saying out loud. The empowerment narrative doesn't magically erase consequences. It doesn't erase trust issues. It doesn't erase the reality that the internet is forever. And it doesn't erase the fact that relationships built on half-truths and curated personas eventually collapse under the weight of what was hidden. For men, this isn't about policing women. It's about recognizing when empowerment is being used as a shield to avoid accountability, honesty, and real-world impact. As men begin questioning the honesty and accountability gaps in modern dating, another pattern becomes impossible to ignore: the casual disrespect toward men's pain. It's the way some partners react when a man is genuinely hurting, physically, mentally, or emotionally. His stress gets labeled as overreacting. His anxiety becomes immaturity. His physical pain becomes a joke. When he reaches a breaking point, it's dismissed as weakness. And when he asks for support, it's mocked as neediness. Men are realizing that the empathy they're expected to give is rarely the empathy they receive. And that realization cuts deeper than any breakup ever could. What makes it worse is how quickly excuses get used to brush off their own harmful behavior. Accountability gets replaced with astrology. Responsibility gets buried under retrograde. Someone lashes out, and instead of owning it, she blames her star sign. She cheats, lies, or explodes emotionally, and it becomes the universe messing with her energy. Men aren't angry at astrology itself. They're stunned at how it's weaponized as a hall pass for toxic behavior. It turns serious issues into cosmic accidents, as if the alignment of planets somehow absolves someone from basic human decency. This constant rationalization creates a relationship dynamic where a man's actions are scrutinized while her actions are spiritualized. He's expected to fix his flaws. She's expected to explain hers. And in that gap, men feel their reality slipping. They watch their genuine hurt get reframed as overreacting. Their valid concerns get dismissed as insecurity, and their attempts at communication get twisted into accusations. It's emotional sleight of hand, subtle enough to confuse, consistent enough to erode confidence. By this point in the awakening, men realize they're not just dealing with emotional volatility. They're dealing with a culture of excuses, a culture that demands their strength but trivializes their suffering, a culture where accountability is optional, but empathy from men is mandatory. And once men recognize that their pain has become something to minimize, joke about, or use against them, they finally understand why they've felt so unsupported for so long. This is when many decide they're done apologizing for hurting and done tolerating relationships where their humanity is negotiable. As men start recognizing how their pain gets minimized and excuses get used to dodge responsibility, another truth rises to the surface: the growing culture of entitlement around men's resources. It shows up in the way some women approach dating, as if it's a subscription service men are obligated to fund. The relationship becomes less about connection and more about extraction. A man isn't judged by his integrity or loyalty. He's judged by how fast he can open his wallet. And the sad part is how normalized this has become. Almost like expecting financial benefits from men is just part of modern dating etiquette. Men see it clearly now because the patterns aren't subtle anymore. Some women maintain entire rosters of men, each assigned to a different bill. One pays for the phone, one pays for the nails, one pays for the car. It's marketed as empowerment, but men know exactly what it is: exploitation dressed up as self-worth. And when they refuse to participate, they're labeled cheap, controlling, or intimidated by a high-value woman. The irony is brutal. A culture obsessed with financial independence somehow still expects men to cover the tab for a lifestyle those same women can't maintain alone. At the same time, there's another layer men are waking up to: the reckless behavior in college and early adulthood that now comes back to haunt people. Viral clips of wild nights, public encounters, and explicit content linger online forever. Recruiters see them. Employers see them. Future partners see them. But many didn't think that far when the cameras were rolling. What was sold as fun or liberation becomes years of cleaning up a digital trail they can't erase. Men aren't judging the past, they're questioning the judgment. And behind all of this sits the fantasy of securing a high-value man. Even when the math doesn't add up, millions of women chase the same tiny pool of men who have endless options, then feel blindsided when those men don't commit. Men see the contradiction clearly: average effort paired with luxury expectations. It's a mismatch that leaves both sides frustrated, but only men are blamed when reality doesn't bend to the fantasy. By now, their awakening isn't just emotional. It's economic, social, and brutally practical. As men start seeing how financial entitlement and reckless choices shape modern dating, they begin to notice how everyday relationships collapse under expectations no one can realistically meet. Perfectionism has quietly replaced partnership. Some couples don't even fight about real issues anymore. They fight because he didn't load the dishwasher the exact way she imagined, or because he breathed wrong during a conversation. It's not conflict, it's constant evaluation. And men are waking up to how exhausting it is to live with someone who treats the relationship like a performance review instead of a bond. One story that keeps resurfacing is the absurd level of documentation some partners use to prove their dissatisfaction. A literal spreadsheet filled with his mistakes, every late arrival, every forgotten errand, every small misstep, presented like evidence in a courtroom. It's not love, it's surveillance disguised as standards, and men are realizing that no matter how much they improve, the goalposts will always move. Perfection isn't attainable, and the expectation of it slowly suffocates the relationship from the inside out. But even that pressure isn't as destructive as the echo chamber effect happening in many friend groups. Instead of encouraging accountability or self-reflection, some circles feed delusion. They convince each other that every inconvenience is a red flag, every disagreement is abuse, and every imperfect man is disposable. Hours spent tearing down their partners becomes a weekly ritual. Advice turns into gasoline, poured over situations that needed calm rather than chaos. And when 3 out of 5 relationships collapse, no one questions whether the counsel was toxic. They celebrate it as liberation. Dating apps amplify the problem even further. Unlimited options create unlimited dissatisfaction. Swipe culture trains people to search endlessly for someone slightly better, rejecting good men for trivial reasons. A job title, a height difference, a photo they don't like. It turns dating into shopping and people into products. And the more options someone believes they have, the less effort they put into the person right in front of them. Men see it clearly now. Relationships aren't failing because men stopped trying. They're failing because modern culture teaches some women to treat good men as placeholders while chasing fantasies that don't exist. As men watch relationships crumble under impossible expectations and echo chamber validation, they begin noticing something even more disturbing. The next generation is absorbing these dynamics like background noise. Children grow up witnessing chaos, presented as passion, disrespect, framed as empowerment, and emotional manipulation normalized as communication. Boys internalize the message that their feelings don't matter, and girls learn that entitlement is strength. By the time they become adults, they mistake dysfunction for standard behavior because it's all they ever saw modeled. The cycle doesn't just repeat, it compounds. That same distortion shows up in the conversation around body positivity. What started as a healthy push against unrealistic beauty standards has been twisted into something else entirely. Some people now demand their partners pretend not to notice drastic changes in appearance, even when those changes affect health, attraction, and intimacy. Men aren't criticizing bodies. They're criticizing the expectation that they must lie about their own preferences to protect someone's ego. When accountability gets rebranded as oppression, honest relationships become impossible. The financial exploitation woven into modern dating only adds another layer. Men are finally calling out how often they've been treated like meal tickets rather than romantic interests. Free meal dating, roster rotation, and strategic girls' nights funded by unwitting men have become so normalized that calling them wrong is seen as overreacting. But men know what it feels like to be used, and they're done pretending it's harmless. It's not playful, it's not cute, it's exploitation, and it corrodes trust long before a relationship even begins. And then there's the double standard around abusive behavior. Perhaps the most damaging of all, a raised voice from a man is labeled aggression, but screaming, throwing objects, or emotional stonewalling from a woman is dismissed as being in her feelings. If the roles were reversed, the outrage would be immediate. But when it's directed at men, it's minimized or even mocked. This unequal standard teaches men that their safety doesn't matter and teaches women that their actions carry no real consequences. By this point in the awakening, men see the pattern clearly. These aren't isolated moments. They're symptoms of a culture that rewards the wrong behaviors and punishes the people expected to endure them. And the damage doesn't stop with adults. It shapes the world their children will inherit. By the time men finish connecting all these patterns, entitlement, exploitation, denial, double standards, something shifts inside them. The exhaustion hardens into clarity, And that clarity pushes many of them toward a decision they once felt ashamed to even consider: choosing solitude over chaos. Not because they hate relationships, but because they finally understand the cost of being in the wrong one. Peace becomes more valuable than partnership. Silence becomes more comforting than shouting. A quiet home becomes safer than a relationship where every day feels like walking into emotional crossfire. For the first time, men are realizing that being alone doesn't mean losing. It means protecting what little stability the world still offers them. And as more men step back, the dating market starts to feel the correction. Not a punishment, not revenge, just natural consequences. When good men no longer line up to fund unrealistic expectations or tolerate disrespect, the imbalance that's been growing for years begins to collapse under its own weight. Some women are starting to feel that shift. They're noticing that the men they once overlooked, ignored, or took for granted are no longer available. They moved on. They built lives that don't revolve around chasing validation, and they're happier for it. This is the real wake-up call for everyone. Modern dating can't survive on entitlement, manipulation, and fantasy. It only works when both sides give as much as they expect. Accountability isn't cruelty. Boundaries aren't control. Reciprocity isn't optional. These truths aren't anti-woman or anti-man. They're pro-reality. And ignoring them is exactly what brought us to this breaking point. If there's one message left to take from this awakening, it's this: men deserve peace, respect, and partnership, not punishment for existing. And women who genuinely want healthy relationships deserve men who aren't too drained or damaged to give love back. But none of that happens unless both sides start telling the truth about the world we're dating in. So speak up. Share your story. What patterns have you seen? What moments opened your eyes? The more we talk about this, the harder it becomes for the dysfunction to hide behind hashtags and excuses. The awakening is already here. The only question left is who's willing to face it, and who's willing to change because of it.